I think because everybody lived through, it's weird because I've been reading World War II tweets that's out of London, and it's every day you see, and it really, really affected the fabric of that whole nation. I didn't realize quite how much, I mean, I read history and whatnot, but when I see the daily tweets of every day, the barrage that was going on, it's quite amazing. So I don't know why. I think it's also women, and it's like a common theme, and it's also women stepping into a new phase of life, a new phase for women. I think the war really changed how women looked at themselves, because all of a sudden they're doing jobs they didn't know that they could do, and they're earning a paycheck for the first time, and they're out in the workforce, and it really changed their lives, you know. How I researched was when I got it, my son Will was home from university, and he's like, "Oh, Mom," because he's a real history buff, and so he's like, "No, there's all kinds of cool stuff." And I had learned to go on the internet to do emails for my kids when they left home, because, you know, I'm of a certain age where we didn't really do that, although I know people are older who really do it. But he's like, no, and he looked up videos, and he looked up, you know, interviews, and he looked up footage, and he was like such a resource for me. So that's really where I got a lot of help. And then I got a lot of music from the time and just played that. And I looked at, you know, you just look at things of the time just because it kind of seeps you in it. But that's really all I did. And then we had bomb making lessons the first season. You know, they brought us in, and we learned like what the different parts were and how you would do the different things. And so, but my character Lorna, she just marches around and tells people what to do. So I haven't been on the line except for every once in a while I'll sub for a girl. So they have more hands-on than me. I'm doing the play Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and Rich sends me Bomb Girls. And I'm like, oh no, I don't really want to do TV, but I don't want him to think he's only going to get commission on, you know, the tiny bit you get for play. So I pretend, I said, well, I'm busy now. And he said, well, they'll see you after you finish, shut the play. And so I said, okay, but I wasn't planning on, I didn't think they would want me, and I didn't think I would want to do it. Because I was, but then when I met Adrienne Mitchell, and she had me read, and she gave me a really good correction, and I was like, and then she gave me, and then I did it again. She goes, good, good, now, and she just adjusted again, and it was like she did that around 6 times, and I was over the moon because I thought I could actually learn something from this woman. And when you're old and you've done a lot of stuff, a lot of times you're just doing your work, but you really can't, you aren't learning a lot. Milos Forman, I learned a lot from, you know, there's certain people, and I thought I'll get to be a better actor, and that's what it's about for me, is being better at whatever you do. And so then I was like, if they want me to do it, I'll do it. And then I got home the next day, I had the offer. But I thought it was just a mini-series. I didn't know it was a series. It could be a series. I mean, who knew, right? I came from a bit of challenge with my childhood, so I wasn't prepared to let somebody else raise them. And to have a film career can be good, you need to do minimum 1, preferably 2 films a year. And films take 3 to 6 months. So I used to take my kids with me, and then they got to the age where I brought them with me for a movie, and when they came back, their best friends were best friends with other people, because you're gone for 3 months, right? So I realized I wanted them to have stability. You make decisions the best you can. I made the right decision for me. I don't know if I was actually the best role model for my daughter, because in hindsight, I think maybe I was like, you know, you have to do everything for your family and kids, and you can't. But I wrote, so I don't know. I did the best I could, and I think I did the best thing for me to raise them, even though it was hard. It was hard to walk away and lose my identity in that way. I was me, but I was their mother, and people at parties who used to kind of come would glaze over when you've retired. And it was like a lot of people in the business. It was almost like I caught a communicable disease. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It got very quiet. It was like they didn't want it to rub off somehow. I don't know. It was very lonely. But I had my kids and I focused on them. But maybe it was a challenge for them to have me so focused. I don't know, you know, now. But I'm going to be a grandmother now, so then I can just like be all love, and you know, it's going to be lovely. I was in a relationship where I had been madly and passionately, like head over heels in love, and it didn't work out. And so, so then I thought you only fell in love once, and so I was in a marriage that was a friendship marriage, and I loved him, but it was friendship marriage, and so I understood her thinking it was fine, but just hanging on by, like being lonely, you know, being lonely beside somebody. So yeah, I do, and also I have grown children, and my children in the show, you know, they go on their different directions, so there's that push me, pull you, and it's really important for me to have that in the show, because I think for a lot of the women who are watching, they might be going through push me, pull you too, and I love that about the show, that it shows the humanness and it shows the strengths and also the failings of the characters, and so you can have the best intentions, but your best intentions can sometimes be steamrolling over somebody else's, what would actually be best for them, but because you're the mom and you've done this for so long, you keep trying to do this, and they're like, please, you know what I mean? And so I think that hopefully I bring a lot of insight into those types of dynamics too, with you know, her own life, and I think that so yeah, I feel like I've been able to bring a lot to the part. I just love her. I guess it's like, it's not so much learn. Like some of my characters I've learned about that time period for sure, and about how it felt to walk that line of, she's in the old, like the younger women, they're more like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, you know, because they come from a different time and a mindset. But I came from the mindset of the woman's, the little wife and the man, so I'm like doing all the home stuff and all the cooking and all the cleaning, and I'm doing all the earning, and I'm caretaking for Bob, and but I'm also a woman, but I have a position of, I'm not a boss, I'm not management, but I'm almost management. So I'm in kind of a male role, but I'm not. And so I'm walking that line of trying to not step on toes, but get the change for my girls. So and it's just like Lorna's growing and learning as the show goes, and the young girls are kind of opening, especially Gladys, who comes from entitlement. So she has sort of like, well, why is it that way? Well, this needs to change. And I'm like, honey, knock it off. But then afterwards, when I'm lying in bed and thinking, and my husband's asleep beside me, it's like, yeah, why is it? Do you know what I mean? So I think she's learned a lot from Gladys, and is making changes. I don't think the girls know how much she goes to bat for them.